We have big news out of Edmonton. The Oilers are re-signing Evander Kane. We'll discuss the details coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty big news from the Edmonton Oilers organization. The information was actually released in the wee hours of the morning, at least here on the East Coast. It was pretty late. I know I was up late talking about the Malkin news, and that was late enough. The Kane news came even a few hours later, but he is remaining with the Edmonton Oilers and has signed a 4-year contract extension valued at $5.125 million. So this certainly contradicts some of the reports we were hearing from NHL reporters saying that it was believed that he was looking for a yearly average annual value of around $7 million, and ideally, 4 or 5 year term. The term part made sense, but obviously the dollar value is much better. He put out a statement himself indicating how thankful he was to the Oilers for the opportunity. He wanted to keep things going. He wanted a chance to win and all those things that were important to him. And of course, we know that Kane is still in the process of grieving the contract termination from the San Jose Sharks. And we don't know when that's going to be settled or go through arbitration. And that could come at any time if a settlement is reached, because obviously at any point, Kane and the Sharks can decide on their own if they're either going to pursue it, not pursue it, if there's a financial settlement or what have you, and it won't go to arbitration. But they said that the arbitration date would be sometime later into July, if indeed it's still required. And obviously arbitrators weren't available for various reasons, being busy, vacation periods, all that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly, but I kind of wonder in a way if the NHL might have pushed it out, hoping that they would come to a solution on their own. But the risky part of this deal, I guess, is that if Kane wins his grievance and it ends up going through arbitration, it is possible that his old contract could be reinstated and he could theoretically become a member of the San Jose Sharks. Now, at that point, he doesn't want to be a Shark anymore, I'm sure. They don't want him to be a Shark anymore either. So at that point, it's not like he would stay in San Jose, but you might have to facilitate a trade, or perhaps some sort of compensation would have to be agreed upon to send to the Sharks in order for the Oilers to keep Kane as is. At least that's the belief. Now, it's also possible, I don't know if that could be done, but I wonder if somehow the new contract could remain in place and they could just impose some sort of penalty against San Jose for the termination. But obviously, I don't know how that's all going to work out, but that is still looming over everything and could have an impact on things. I do wonder, though, what the odds are of Kane and the Sharks settling on their own. Obviously, by settling, Kane's not going to settle and say, don't give me any money. That's not going to happen. So unless the Sharks are willing to offer him a percentage of what his remaining contract value would have been, and then maybe he decides to take the deal rather than risk going through arbitration and getting less or nothing. Because if he goes through arbitration and he loses and they're like, nope, they had every right to terminate this, then he'll get zero, right? So if the Sharks do offer him something, I wonder if he takes it, and then we all move on here, and the new contract doesn't have to be, impacted in any shape or form whatsoever. Because this is a pretty good deal for the Oilers. If you think about what Kane did in his shortened season with the Oilers and his playoff run, like, he was a phenomenal fit. Like, you can say what you want about Evander Kane off the ice. I have not been a fan myself of some of the things that we've seen and that he's been accused of. But as a hockey player, strictly on the ice, he has done a lot of good things over his career, and he was a tremendous fit with the Oilers. And of course, he was motivated to kind of reprove himself as well. And that's going to be the thing with Kane here. Obviously, we've seen throughout his career where he's bounced from, obviously with Winnipeg to Buffalo, obviously to San Jose, and now to Edmonton. And like every time he seems to have stretches of a few years or so, sometimes where things are under control, well behaved. You don't really hear too much about issues, and then eventually they tend to creep back in. And this is one of those times where you're hoping for Edmonton's sake and for his sake that doesn't happen again, and that he can stay in the straight and narrow like in San Jose. You take away all the other stuff that he was being accused of off the ice. Some of it was pretty horrible accusations, which at this point have yet to be proven as well. So we can't say that they're true by any means, but even the other stuff that the Sharks seem to have more validity on through, we've heard reports from different connections to the team about, being late for meetings, dress code. Like, they might seem like little things, but it's a respect thing, right? To respect your team and your teammates and to follow what you're supposed to do that way for the conduct. So that if that can at least stay put, and he can keep the off-ice drama to zero, hopefully, then this could work out phenomenally. We've seen the Oilers come close last year. They were a conference finalist. They're rumored to be adding Jack Campbell today, so that'll solidify goaltending, hopefully. And they've got themselves a longer-term deal with Kane. So really, at the end of the day here, the Oilers should be as good or better as they were this past season. They got a great coach in Jay Woodcroft, just a matter of seeing how much further this team can go. So let me know your thoughts on the Kane signing with the Oilers today. We'll discuss it in the comments. Expect several videos upon the signings that we see today. Some more higher profile players will probably get a dedicated video, whereas some will be lumped together as well, and we'll kind of discuss here as the day goes. So let me know your thoughts, and stay tuned to this Top Shelf Hockey. Subscribe if you're new, because we'll be keeping you updated throughout the entire day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.